Okay, so we are continuing with the story of Rabbi Nachman and King of the Emperor. It's part 8, I believe. 8 is supernatural, so ready for miracles. And I have a candle over here, candle that we did, and because 1 year ago today, so my father passed away. So it's not really clear when the yahrzeit is, because the first year apparently you do the yahrzeit from the day of the burial, so that's on Shabbos. So anyway, so this shir is Leila Nishmas Kamalei B'Shmuel Ben Yitzchak Yosef, and yeah, his neshama shehaba b'Galiyah. So we are continuing, and we're learning about how the soul is connecting to the Torah and the different things that she needs to attain, to latch onto in order to be worthy of connecting with the Torah. And we spoke about 3 different things. Number 1, the merchant with the ship. Number 2, the 11 maidservants. And number 3 is the pirates with their treasures. Okay? These are the 3 things that the daughter of the emperor that she needs to attain before she's able to connect. So the first thing was prestige. The first thing was that the Sfina represents chashivut, Rabbi Nachman says, and that the Torah doesn't like pushovers. The Torah doesn't really lend itself to people who are nobodies. And a person who wants to connect to the Torah needs to know his worth. Needs to know that I'm awesome. That I'm a superstar. I'm very important. I know my worth. I know that I have what to say. I know that the people should pay attention to what I have to say. I don't need to convince people to pay attention to what I have to say, because I just know that what I say is worth listening to. You can tell, like, when I heard from Rabbi Reb Shmulevitz. He said that his father was once preparing share with him, and he said he told him, when I get to this part in the share, I'm going to start shouting, because I don't really understand it myself. Meaning that when you when something is very straightforward, so then you can say it as a matter of fact, right? When you know deep down that what you're saying doesn't really make sense, then you have to say it in an overly convincing manner, because that way it sounds more legitimate, right? So a person that knows deep down that they have self-worth, a person that knows deep down that what they say deserves being listened to, so then they just command authority, right? So that's chashivos. Okay, so the person that's everything is, no, why don't you listen to me? But I'm right. So then there's the Torah is not gonna the Torah doesn't connect with a person that doesn't really believe in themselves. Okay, so there's a certain amount of authority, a certain chashivas the person needs to connect with. And that's the first level. That's the merchant with the ship. Okay, so now we started speaking last time about the second part of the story. That is with the king that made a palace on the sea. The king made a palace on the sea, and he wanted to marry the daughter of the emperor, and the daughter of the emperor requested that she should get 11 maidservants to play with and to be her friends. And then one day, so they went on the ship, and you heard last week, and she went, and when the maidservants weren't looking, so she untied the ship from the,
and just left with her maidservants.
right? What's it called? What do you tie the ship to?
More anchor, rope.
Dock. Yes, she untied it from the dock, and they were sailing, and the maidservants didn't even realize. Maidservants didn't realize that they had gone, and next thing they knew, so they were in the middle of the sea, and he said, And he said, "Why did you do that?" And so she kidnapped the maidservants, and she sailed away into the sea. Okay, so we started to discuss what does this represent? What is the symbolism of the 11 maidservants? That this is something that the daughter of the emperor, that she needs to attain in order to connect with the Torah. So we started to talk about the number 11. And the number 11, the place that the number 11 shows up in Judaism, in Torah, is in the incense, in the Ketaret. The Ketaret, there has 11 sememanim, 11 spices in the Ketaret. Okay? And so interestingly, so this is a Purimi topic. It's a Purimi topic because both Esther and Mordechai have connections to Besamim. That the Esther is Hadassah. Hadassah is how do you say Hadassah? Is it willows? Myrtles. Thank you. It's myrtle, which obviously has a good spice, and it says that Mordechai is Maridachia, which is also one of the 11 spices of the Besamim. Okay, so both Mordechai and Esther have a good smell. Have a good smell to them. Something about the Sememanim, something about the Ketares. And so what's interesting about the Yud Aleph Sememani Ketares is that one of the 11 Semanim of the Ketares, one of the 11 spices, was something called Chalbana. Chalbana. And somebody said that it has the same, you were saying, right? That it has the same thing in English. And in Gematria, did we say this last week? In Gematria, so Chalbana is the same Gematria as Haman. So what's up with so Chalbana? That's the one that has bad smell. Okay, so part of the good smell of Ketares comes from the bad smell of the Chalbana. Okay, so part of the good smell of the Jewish people is with the evil, is with the Rishayim. Okay, it says that on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. So it says that you can't daven until you have also Posha Yisrael, that a good tzibur needs to have wicked people as well. Okay, if you have a community of tzaddikim, so Hashem is less willing, is less quick to listen to their prayers. That He likes to see a nice representation of every kind of people, and when you have the bad people together with the good people, and then it's a full community, and then Hashem will answer your prayers. So what's up with that? Like that wouldn't it be nicer? Wouldn't it be nicer if the bad people stay home? Wouldn't it be nicer if the bad people stay home? Why do they need to stink up our synagogues with their disgusting smells?
You wouldn't appreciate. It'd get boring if it wasn't some kind of antagonism.
Boring.
Yeah.
Always mitzvot. What, Torah again?
No, there has to be something to overcome for it to be a hero's journey. I believe Hashem constantly tests people as we test Hashem.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this relationship that we have to climbing the steps of the inner hero, the inner becoming a better person every day by trials and tribulations and passing the test. So
what we see over here is that the tzaddik isn't really a tzaddik without the Rasha. Right? Mm-hmm. There's something that we were just learning, that there's an amazing Torah from the Belzer Rebbe, that from Rabbi Shlomo Belz, that he talks about in the beginning of Parshas Toldos. So it says that Rivka, so she was confused because her baby was kicking, and it was kicking at her baby, her unborn baby,
Okay.
her unborn baby. There's a word for it, right? Not fetus. It's not called. It's called after a fetus. Yeah. 7 months. It's still called a fetus.
One child.
Yeah. So, so, so her babies. So it says that her babies were kicking at weird times. That sometimes he was cooking, sometimes he was big. It was that he was kicking when he got to a shul, because she understood that he's really excited, and then when they went to a place of idolatry, then it was kicking also. So she was confused. What's going on? But he likes Torah and he also likes idolatry. How could it be? So the question is that what didn't she understand? Of course, the answer is very simple: that she has twins. It's not the first time in the world that you have that there's twins. Why couldn't she imagine that there's twins? And so Yeshua from Belz explains that really wasn't what was confusing her. What was confusing her was as follows: that she knew that she had been barren. She wasn't able to have children, and she had to pray. She had to beg God for the ability to have children. And Hashem did a miracle that they should have children, even though she was barren and she wasn't able to have children. So her question was as follows: that I understand, God, why you did me this miracle in order that I should have Yaakov. But why, God, did you do a miracle to give me Esav? That makes no sense. That's a good question, right?
I got some Esau blood in me.
So-
On my mother's side, King David. On my father's side, like straight up Irish, like half royal knights family from Scotland, England. They're like potato knights. Like
You realize,
they got in the country.
you realize
police
you're,
would
you're,
have
you're being
been
recorded
like a
this for
horse.
billions of people. This might not be good for shidduchim.
No, it gives me that hardcore like voice strength that you guys don't.
Unless the girl is specifically looking for that.
Looking for that
Like
Amalek
a man
vibe.
up on a
Yeah.
tractor.
Yeah.
Maybe she likes the challenge of like performing him.
Wow.
This is why I'm bald too.
No.
I'm
Okay, if
looking
anybody's
for
listening to
my
this, please
teacher
do not
and-
marry somebody because you want to fix them, okay?
No, that's
Yeah.
that's very bad idea. They have to want to
So-
fix themselves. And willing to be taught, and it's a beautiful.
Okay.
like-
So first fix yourself and then fix Brody. So so why would God do a miracle to make an Esav? That is the question. So what was the answer? She went to the Navi, and the Navi told her that Shnei Goyim b'vitnech, Shnei Le'umim b'mei'ayach, U'le'om Le'omim yamatz, that they're always going to be fighting. Okay, so Yeshua from Belz explains that what does it mean they're always going to be fighting? That the Navi meant to tell Rivka that you had a good question, that Hashem, why would Hashem do a miracle to make an Esav? The answer is, if it wouldn't be for Esav, Yaakov wouldn't be a Yaakov.
Yeah.
Yaakov
And-
can't be a Yaakov if not for the adversity that he gets from Esav. Or in other words, that like something that we spoke about numerous times, that beautiful people aren't born that way. There's no such thing as a person who's born beautiful. That if you think of anybody that you admire, anybody that you look up to, and the person that's like wow, like that's what I want to be when I grow up. So, I mean, not that I'm going to grow up, but if I would have to grow up, I would want to be like him. So think about all of your heroes, all the people that you look up to. They all had to overcome something. And if you don't know about something that they had to overcome, so I guarantee you there's something that you don't know. Because there's no such thing as a beautiful, amazing person that was just born like that.
When
Like
you say that, do you mean just regarding to Judaism, to Jews, or
No.
in general? Just
In general?
Talk about,
Why do you think I'm talking about Jews?
squealing
I don't
little
know, I was
bundle of
just-
flesh covered in blood, like can't open his eyes yet. It takes a little while to get pretty. You know, by the time they're 3, you're like, oh, now you're cute.
Well, I mean, that wasn't what I meant. You understand what I meant.
Oh yeah.
So all of the people that we look up to are people that needed to overcome something.
Mhm.
Okay, and it's because the people that just everything goes nice for them, so they're a little bit boring.
And sometimes spoiled and mean and narcissistic.
Yeah, and even if not, but they're not awesome. The awesome people, by definition, had to overcome something. So that's why the kehilas tzadikim, the kehilas kedoshim, the so the shul that if you don't have a high enough batting average, so then you aren't accepted for into the into the community. So Hashem like is not so impressed with that community. Like Hashem says, like I think that I'll pass on you guys. Okay, that a community that has that has all different kinds of representation. That means that there's real people. Okay, if you're just living in a bubble and like I'm not going to talk to you if you don't agree with everything I say, so that means that you're really just preaching to the choir with everything you say, and you've never actually lived. That reminds me of a teaching from a Bezusha. Bezusha says that there's a Mishnah in Pirkei Avos that says as panim legehenam. Okay, it's really relevant. It's really relevant to the next thing. It's really relevant to the. Okay, I'll say it now, but it's really relevant to the part about the pirates. That the Mishnah says in Pirkei Avos, as panim legehenam, v'boshes panim legan eden. So a person with a brazen face will go to hell, and a person who's bashful will go to paradise, will go to Gan Eden. So Reb Zusha from Nepali, so he explained that you know what it means? It means that a person that's bashful, person that doesn't have guts, person that's a little bit of a pushover, person who's like I guess I can't say girl in a mixed setting, can I? So he should stick in the base medrash. He should stick in the base medrash. He should just hang around holy people because you're just a little bit weak. So, like at the moment that you're gonna see something that's like, oh my gosh, that you're doing Averis, what do I do? I guess I'll just do Averis too. But as panim, if you have brazenness, if you're really, really stark, if you're really, really strong in your approach to life, so then you should go to Gehenna. You should go to the deepest places, and you can be able to take out. And this is really the next stage. This is really the next stage of the. It's called. We're going to discuss something called halas nitzitzis, to take away the nitzitzis, to elevate the sparks of kedusha from the lowest places. But for our purposes, this is the 11th Samani Aktaris is the 10 good spices with one bad spice. So that's the chalbana, that's the Haman, that's the evil that we embrace evil in order to overcome it. Okay, and we're not afraid of evil. We embrace it in order to overcome it. And we don't look for challenges. We don't look for problems. Right? It says that a person that's going to look for a challenge is a Rasha. Person says, I'm not going to live in Jerusalem. I'm going to live in Tel Aviv, because that's not exciting. If everybody's keeping Shabbos, that's not exciting. I'm going to go to Tel Aviv, and none of my friends are keeping Shabbos, and I'm going to keep Shabbos. That's impressive. So the Gemara says that's a Rasha. I don't mean that everybody lives in Tel Aviv is a Rasha, but a person that just most of them, but a person with this mentality that I want to look for challenges, I want to look for problems, so that the Gemara says that's a Rasha. Okay, the Gemara is talking about a person that goes to a place with what?
A den of iniquity, with the intention of delving further into the iniquity.
What?
Den of iniquity. Iniquity means like a non-reputable place.
Yes.
Like a house or like a...
Yes, a person that goes specifically into a place of where like imanus people are, and with the intention of, I'm gonna show Hashem how holy I am. I'm not gonna look, and so the Gemara says that's a Rasha. That's a Rasha, because he should have taken the safe route. Okay, so we don't look for problems. We don't look for problems, but when they come, we're not afraid of them. Okay, and that's the idea of the chalbana.
What would you say about surfing? We go out there like, oh, we're ready to battle this stuff. Like, like I'm gonna catch the big one out there.
The big what?
Wait,
Why is that bad?
I don't know. You can easily die. Like the type of surf that I do, like people.
You
Like,
do stuff that you could easily die.
Yeah, 20-foot waves. You get held under where your head hits a rock out in Montauk. Sharks. There's white sharks out there. The biggest white shark on earth was caught off Montauk.
I
It's like
absolutely
local
recommend
surf spot.
not doing things that you can easily die.
I like that though. It's like I'm going to conquer death. That's the A7. It's like a straight warrior.
Then I think you should conquer that.
You're conquering Torah now. Ooh.
Okay, so this is
Oh my God.
so the 11 with the 11 maidservants together with her makes 12, right? Okay, so we said what is 12? What is 12? 12 is the 12th energy is the energy that takes the 11. That 11 is more than 10, right? This is a review. I know we did this. I know we did this last week.
Less
Right.
than 12.
It's not less than 12. It's without 12. It's 12 is more than 11. So 10 is the circuit. 10 is the unit, and then 11 is the odd man out. 11 is the weirdo. 11 is the Russia, the chalbana, and then 12. What is 12? 12 is the ability to include the 11. 12 is the one that says that 12 is what?
Creates a circle.
Creates a
Creates a
circle.
Yeah.
Yes. So
6, 12 colors, geometry, time, space, and
yes. So
Based on
the
that.
12th energy is the thing that makes 11 also to make sense. Meaning when you're at the stage of 11, then you're the odd man out. So the Mizbeach is the 12th point. The Mizbeach of the Mizbeach HaKteres, the Mizbeach Hazav, that is what connects this 11 together with a 10. Okay? And that's the beautiful smell. That's the beautiful smell that Haman and Mordechai and Esther. So what was special about them, their reach, their beautiful smell, their beautiful scent, was specifically from the fact that they weren't afraid of antagonism, that they weren't afraid of battling with Haman. Okay, and it says that Mordechai had colleagues that disagreed with him. It says at the end of the Megillah. So it says that Mordechai was Ratzoi Lerov Achav, and the Gemara Megillah says that Melamed sheparshu mimeno miktas Sanhedrin, that he was well accepted with Rov Achav, with most of his brothers. So why is it most of his brothers, not all of his brothers? Because some of them actually thought that he messed up. Why did he mess up? Because Mordechai, what are you doing dealing with politics? What are you dealing with Achashverosh? We've been learning. You've been like you missed 3 daf in Gemara since we left. Since you left, you've been dealing with Achashverosh, saving the Jewish people. We've been learning so much Gemara, and you missed out. So the Gemara says that some of Mordechai's colleagues, so they didn't agree with this approach of going to conquer evil. I'm gonna do whatever it takes. I'm gonna jump into the lion's den to battle with evil, and they were more into the let's just keep our heads in the base medrash, and hopefully Hashem will do a miracle. Okay, and so this is what's special about Mordechai and Esther. Specifically, what gives them this beautiful scent, this mar dvar, this hadassah, that what gives them this beautiful scent, but it's even very beautiful that I don't know everything, but a lot of things that smell. So the only way to get the smell is to apply pressure. It's very friction. It's to rub it, right? And so it's the friction. It's the when things aren't going smooth, right? If you pet your fragrances, your herbs, it's not gonna do it. It's not gonna smell nice. The only way to bring the smell out is only when you do it a little bit aggression, pressure. So So this is what the thing that brought out the beautiful scent of Mordechai and Esther is specifically the fact that they were fighting against Haman. Okay, so this is how the 12th Nakuda takes together the 11, and it makes it part of the beautiful scent. It makes a part of the Keteris. It makes a part of this beautiful experience. So Rabbi Nachman writes that this 12th Nakuda, so the 12th Nakuda is a reference to Emunah, and when you have Emunah, so it takes together the 11 other Kochot HaNefesh. In other words, that when we're talking about the number 12, so one of the connotations, one of the symbolisms of the number 12 is that something that we learn in the Rosh Chodesh classes, which we still have to give another class, but we gave on Shvat, we gave on Kislev, we gave on a bunch of like the spiritual energies of the month, according to the Sefer Yetzirah, and so in Sefer Yetzirah, so it gives that there's a certain midah, a certain sense that's connected to every particular month, and so there's different kochot, there's different abilities that a person needs to perfect, and there's a certain ability, a certain sense which is connected to every single month. So in other words, that the number 12 is a reference to the different midot, the different character traits of a person. This person senses the way that I carry myself, the way that I connect with the outside world, with my inner world, that the way in other words, that there's 12 midot. It's 12 midot. Okay. So 12 midot, so what's their source? The source of the midot is all from the heart. Yes. So this is really the theme of these 11 maidservants. The theme of the thing that the daughter of the emperor needs to take from this king that never got married and whatever. So the thing that he needs to take is the midot / the kochot hanefesh, that the energies of the soul, the powers of the soul, and this is what she needs to get for herself in order to be eligible, in order to be able to connect with the Torah. Okay, so this is I think this explains why Rabbi Nachman notes that this king, so he wasn't able to get married because whoever he wanted to marry wouldn't be interested in him. Whoever was interested in him, or he wasn't interested in them, and so this is just the heart, the emotions themselves, the character traits themselves. So they're just like they can never connect. The only way to really connect is only when you have your brains involved. It's only when you have your seichel connecting to your midos. If it's just your midos, if it's just your emotions, so then you're never going to find the right thing because everyone knows deep down that I'm not just looking for an emotional connection. I'm looking for somebody who has the same values as me, who's on the same page as me, who's going on the same journey as me, and so there's always going to be this like if I'm just looking for emotional connection, so then which is the heart. If I'm just looking for my heart, so then it's always going to mess up. It's always going to be that like they're not looking for I'm looking for a different kind of person. They're looking for a different kind of person. So it's never really going to work out. So this is what I think is that when what Rabbi Nachman is hinting to, what he's referring to with these 11 maidservants, that this is a reference to the kochas nefesh. This is a reference to the energies of the soul, that the abilities of the soul, the abilities of the soul to do things in this world, that there's 11 of them, and the emunah, that the knowledge that all of my kochas, all of my abilities, all of my emotional abilities, that they're all from God. So that's the emunah that makes them all grounded, that makes them all focused. And so so that is what gathers them together, and makes the soul into someone who is more worthy. Okay. So now, what does this have to do with? What does this have to do with 11? Because what does it have to do with the what you call it? Because what's it have to do with the Keteris, with the Chalbana, with the fact that 11 is the odd man out, that 11 is that 11 means something that doesn't belong, that the antagonism. So what Rabbi Nachman is saying is that when I'm only living on an emotional plane, so that it's always going to be off. It's always going to be off. That the midos without the emunah is always going to be a misfit. It's always going to be something. There's always going to be fights, because a person, you can have a person that's not connected emotionally. You have a person that's not so into their emotional existence. They're just not connected. They're just not aware. They don't even believe that emotions are important, and so those people have easy lives. Those people have easy lives. A person that is really that wants to be present and wants to really, person that wants to, for example, make the most of the person that cares, a person that cares about injustice, a person that wants to be very aware, to look around. A person wants to really hear, really wants to connect. Like you have a person that if you don't listen to anybody, so you're not going to get upset by anybody, right? But if I'm really going to listen to people, so then people are going to upset me, right? So if I'm not going to have feeling in my life, then it's easy to go straight. It's easy to go to have an easy life. But if I'm going to live my life with this emotional depth, so then things are going to be very difficult. And I'm always going to be running into problems. And so this is really when life gets interesting. This is really when life gets real, because this is the opposite of living in the world of 10. This is the opposite of the person that just wants to stay in the base medrash and just wants to just only deal with holy people, only deal with straight people, and that. So if I'm once I'm going to allow myself to be real, once I'm allowing myself to be part of the world, so then I'm by definition going to have this friction. I'm going to have these conflicts. I'm going to have things that are messing with me, and so that is the 11. That is the Haman. That is the Chalbana. That is the thing that threatens to overpower my sense of well-being. That threatens to overpower my peace of mind, and because it's really going against everything I know. So that's where Amunah. That's where the 12th Nakuda comes in. That's the Amunah is symbolized by the neshama, right? We said the daughter of the emperor, she represents the neshama, and the tchuna, the energy of the neshama is Amunah. Right? It's through the neshama that we're able to connect with the divine, we're able to connect with the infinite. So it's specifically through the energy of Emunah that this is what allows me to be present with my emotional presence, with my being real, with my opening my eyes, with my opening my ears, with my sleeping, with my laughing, with my being very, 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 very. I say laughing because the midah of Adar is the midah of tzchok. Okay? And so a person that knows how to laugh. You're American? Yeah. Americans know how to laugh. Americans know how to laugh. Right? Israelis think we're funny, and English people think we're like Americans know how to they know how to just crack up and just even these old New Yorkers that they're just like they're 8 years old, but when they start laughing, they look so young, you know. And so And so that like to be able to be laugh, to really really laugh, is to be really really alive. Is to be really really present in life. Like when you're really 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 enjoying a joke, right? When you're really really enjoying a, so that means that you're really experiencing life. So in other words, that the ability to personify these 11 midos, that really means that you're really living life to the fullest. And when you're really living life to the fullest, then you're endangering yourself. Because if you're really going to live life to the fullest, then you're going to see a lot of ugly things, a lot of not nice things, a lot of things that are going to get on your nerves, and they're going to drive you crazy. And so what's the only way to survive? What's the only way to keep your sanity? What's the only way to keep your neshama in check? Is only with emunah. It's only with emunah. The only way that I can live a real life is with emunah. And that's why like these two things go together. That you can have a person who's a big tzaddik, quote unquote, but he doesn't really live life. He doesn't really live life. And the reason why he doesn't really live life is because he's scared, right? So he's not really experiencing life. So he's the kind of person that he doesn't even believe in enjoying life. He doesn't believe that he really thinks that everything in life is really just a test.
So if you,
All of these Pringles are here for me not to eat them, okay? And all of the concerts in the world are meant for me not to go to them, because then I'm not going to learn Torah.
I do that for work.
well, why is there some tzaddikim who I will not name, but who actually do that though? They don't kind of like in a good way go out and
Well, you never know. Like some people, sometimes there's different kinds of tzaddikim. There's like the Lubavitcher Rebbe, for example. So he was so involved with the world. He was so so he was so involved with the world through everybody that he just didn't have time to be involved in the world. So he was just in his office answering people's questions, but he was completely experiencing life and completely, like he was a very emotional person, and like you don't always know. You don't always know from the fact that the person is actually always learning and isn't going on vacations. That doesn't mean that they actually aren't worldly. Okay, but a true tzaddik is actually very worldly, and he actually does understand the intricacies of everything, even though he didn't do it himself. But he gets it. Okay,
they did do it themselves though, like if you
not necessarily. He gets it.
okay.
That you have another person that he's just not with it. That like he's awesome if your question is, what do I do when my fleshik spoon goes into my milchik pat? Then he's the person to go to. But if you have anything that's more related to life than that, so he's the wrong person to ask. No, that's this is my critique on some rabbinical programs that the like in Israel, for example, that to become a rabbi, to get smicha in Israel, so you need to take tests in the rabbinut, okay? But there's no test to see if you're a jerk. There's no test to see if you're a narcissist. There's no test to see if you care. Yeah, oh my. So you can have a person that he's a certified rabbi, and he really is the last person that I would want anybody to ask questions about marriage counseling, about relationships, about personal growth, about just fearing God, about like if it's anything besides what they were tested on, so then they were the last, like the opposite of what I would want to be like. But even that's talking about a Russia. But I'm saying even in a tzaddik, even a person he's not off, he just doesn't know about the world. He's a very small person in the sense that he only exists in the level of intellect, and so these people, they also don't live with emunah. That what's this paradox is that the more worldly you become, the more closer you come to Hashem. Because the more that you are living in the emotional presence, the more that you're living with the 11, so the more that it's necessary to also have the 12, and 12 is emunah. Okay? Understand what I'm saying? So that's why it oftentimes goes together, that you have the tzaddikim that they don't have real emunah. They're not always talking about the relationship with God, and they do everything good. They don't do averos, but just like their relationship with God is not something so predominant in their life, but at the same time they don't have this emotional presence. They don't have this realness to them. And the other people that are more in the world. So you would think that if you're more in the world, then you're less close to Hashem, and it's the opposite. They're actually closer to Hashem, because the only way to really survive when you're being present with your midos, with your emotional presence, so it's only if you also have the 12th point, which is the emunah. Okay. So this is what the daughter's emperor wanted to gain from these 11 maidservants. Okay. So what did she do to them? What did she do to these maidservants? So she kidnapped them. The daughter of the emperor.
It's all fun and games until they saw the shore disappear.
The what disappear?
The shoreline, like, oh, now we're really at sea.
Right,
So
okay,
I
sorry.
thought the symbolization of her stealing 11 women is that she's acquiring these 10 good midot plus the 11 like bad midot plus Muna.
Yes.
She needs all of those things.
Yes.
Acquired her.
Correct.
That was.
You got it.
That was
Okay, so now I want to read quickly the third point, and then perhaps next time we'll finish the story. Maybe not. Maybe it's a little bit too long. Okay. So the third point. After this, they saw an island and approached it. There were 12 thieves who wanted to murder them. Okay. Now, thieves. They meant thieves, but the thieves wanted to murder them.
But they're out in the ocean.
So if they're not thieves, they're in an island.
Oh,
Which island is? We said last week. The island is the most in the sea. The island is like your whole existence is in the sea.
yeah.
Okay, so they were thieves that they wanted to murder them. Who's them? The daughter of the emperor and her 11 maidservants.
Murder the only woman on the
The emperor's daughter asked, "Who is the chief among you?" And they introduced her to him. Then she asked him, "What is your trade?" She asked what do you do? Okay, speaking about having guts, right? I like this. She already. there was a big tzaddik, the Alter of Nevardik. I don't think I ever told you this. The Alter of Nevardik. So he was very proud of his bitachon. He was very, very proud of his. The Alter of Nevardik was Rabbi Yosef Yozel Horovitz of Nevardik. He was an amazing person. He is one of the people that I really look up to. He has a sefer called Madrigas Adam, and in the back of a newer version of Madrigas Adam, so they have like a little biography, and they have like things like quotes from him, things that he would say. So one of the things that really jumped out at me that he would always say is that I never asked myself if I could do a particular thing. I only asked myself if the thing needed to be done. Okay, meaning like it's like if what do we need? Okay, I'm doing it. I'm volunteering. Like, what? How on earth are you going to do that? That's crazy. Well, it's completely irrelevant. I'm sorry.
In terms of reason.
In terms of
Reason.
Reason as in ration. If it makes sense.
Like in terms of, I'm gonna do it.
Because it needs to be done. I'm going to do it.
Is it a reasonable thing that I can?
It's an unreasonable thing, even though it's an unreasonable thing for me to do. If it needs to be done, I'm doing it.
Got it.
Okay, so that's Mamish, and he really personified this. He was a person that he created 50 yeshivas all over Europe. That he would go from town to town. He would put together put together. He would find all the boys that want to learn yeshiva. He would find somebody who's going to be in charge of the shiur. Find a fundraiser. Find like the building, and then like they would get off the ground in 2 weeks, and then he would move on to the next town. And like, he was constantly running between all the 50 yeshivas that he created. He was an amazing person.
Ukraine?
So, I'm sorry?
Ukraine?
Ukraine?
Where was he from? Europe?
No, it's Lithuania.
Okay.
Novartis is in Lithuania. So the what you call it, one time he was traveling. He was traveling to get to his yeshivas, and so it was legal. Like he didn't have it was legal for him to go like across the border or whatever. I don't know. There were different wars going on, and so then he didn't have the right passports. So he was always like traveling illegally. And so one time, the way he would sneak in was that he would hide on top of the wagon, on top of the train, the moving train. And then like in the middle of the train, in the middle of the
Jump off.
not jump up, jump down, jump in.
No.
So like like in those days they had like a chimney, so he would jump in. So he was with a student of his, and so one time they're going, and so his student like sticks his head down to see if the coast is clear, and he comes up and it's like his face is white, and I told you the story, and says, what's the problem? So he said, it's full of Austrian soldiers, like whatever. I don't know who was the bad guys. Who's like the people that they weren't allowed to be there. So like the train's full of Austrian soldiers, and so the Alter tells them, let me show you how it's done. You just follow me. So he jumps down, and then his student jumps down after him, and he was right. Like the entire wagon is full of these enemy soldiers, and like they all would send him to Siberia, and so he said, and like they're all and like they were all talking, and then suddenly everything is silent. Everybody's staring at them. So the Alter he picks himself up, and he walks over to the most like the biggest, the most important looking, the most prestigious looking soldier that he could find, and he strolls over to him, reaches into his pocket, takes out a cigarette. Hey buddy, got a light? And the soldier didn't know what hit him. I said, oh yeah, I do here. Thanks, God bless you. Started smiling. And they didn't bother him. So
he humanized himself in front of them. That's a trick. It's very hard.
it's not a trick.
No,
It's not humanizing. It's called having guts.
Guts.
It's called having
No, but this is
self-esteem.
The
To
soldiers will dehumanize the enemy. Call them names, make them less human, so it's easier to kill them.
So this is-
I just thought maybe it was just that guy who didn't have a light at the other car or something.
Right.
So
Okay.
it was-
So.
oh,
Okay, so she has chashivas. Okay, she knows how to get things done. So she goes over to the head of the pirates, the head murderer, like the head of the mafia here, and says, "Oh, so what do you do for a living?" And then I say, "Oh, really?" So what's he say? So he says, "We're thieves." So he says that we're thieves. So he says, so she answers, "We're also thieves. We're also thieves. Me and my girls, we're also thieves, but we're different than you. However, whereas you use brute force, we use wisdom. We're also learned in languages and in playing instruments. What would you benefit by murdering us? Better that you should marry us, and then you can acquire all of our wealth. Here, let me show you all our wealth." So she takes them she was a very smart girl. She was working very quickly, thinking very fast thinking. And so she takes them to the ship, and with her words, she won them over. Okay, so she was able to convince him not to kill them. So then the plan was that they're going to get married, and the thieves also show them all of their wealth, and led them to the whole camp. So they agreed that they wouldn't marry all at once, but rather one pair after another. And more than that, each of the thieves would choose a bride befitting him, and the most honored according to his high standing, and so on. Okay, so there's 12 pirates, and there's 12 girls. So they're all gonna, all the pirates are going to choose a bride. It doesn't say that. 12 mishpachas, 12 mishpachas, and they're going to have 12 weddings. And so then she announced that she wants to honor them with fine, wondrous wine that she had in the ship. She told them that she had intended never to use it. She was guarding it for the day that she would meet her match.
This is very sleepy wine, right?
Then she served the wine in 12 goblets and asked each of the thieves to drink from one. They drank, they became intoxicated and collapsed. Then she said to her companions, "Go now, each of you, and slaughter your husband."
Yep. Very sleepy wine.
And they did. Then they found incredible wealth beyond that of any king. They agreed not to, beyond that of any king. There's the real riches. They say that there's the top 100, the 100 richest people in the world, and then there's the people that are able to pay their way out of the list, because it's not good to be in the top 100 richest people. So then, like, all the tzedakah organizations are always calling you for bothering you, and so it's good to be. So if you're really rich, then you get out of it.
I want to get a casino in Vegas called Tzedakah. There's no winners. You just give money. You get like signs.
You give all your money to Simchat Shlama.
No, but the thing is that the winner of the game gets to decide where Tzedakah goes.
So they agreed not to take any brass or silver, only gold and precious stones. And they threw from the ship possessions which were not so valuable and loaded it with the treasures. They're like on the ship, so you can't take everything. It's going to sink. So they filled the ship only with the most precious things, only with gold and diamonds. Okay, so they agreed. Okay, and then they agreed to cease dressing as women. So they sewed for themselves men's clothing and sailed away on the ship. Okay, we'll talk about that next time. That like after this third thing, then they decided to become boys. Okay, but what did they do? In the third encounter, so they meet these bandits, they meet these pirates, the thieves that are really murderers, and what do they get from them? They get amazing riches, immeasurable wealth. So what is the symbolism over here? So what we're getting is immeasurable wealth. Okay, this is where the really good stuff is. This is where the special, sparkly, shiny, really, really amazing stuff is. Everything until now was just awesome. It was nice. Okay, but this is where the whoa stuff is. Okay, and where is the whoa stuff? It's with the most disgusting people. It's with the murderers. It's with the thieves. Okay.
Like now.
So, but this is the daughter of the emperor, that she's looking for this. That she's looking for the highest of the high, and the only place to find the highest of the high is only if you go to the lowest of the low. So this is a crazy thing that Rabbi Nachman is telling us, that and this is the hardest place, the hardest thing to go, that the only way to get to the highest place is only if you get to the lowest place. The only way that you're going to get mamish the amazing out there levels of kedusha is only if you're willing to go to the lowest places. Okay, so this is what we mentioned earlier. This is an idea called hala'at nitzotzot. Okay, meaning that there's amazing sparks that were lost. And where were they lost? They were lost in the lowest places. And so sometimes you're going to need to go to the lowest places in order to retrieve these sparks of kedusha. Okay, it says that this is one of the ideas of the exile. It says that Lagalo Yisrael ben Ha'umayis, that the only reason why the Jewish people were exiled among the nations is only for the purpose of bringing gerim, of bringing converts. That you have these holy sparks that they were thrown down to the, who knows where, to the middle of China, to the middle of the crazy, crazy, like, who would imagine that that somebody in such a Christian town is gonna find Judaism, and so, but you have these holy neshamas, and like when you meet them, you're just like, whoa, like you're just blown away at the sincerity and the purity and the holiness, and like they come from the lowest places. So they come from mamish the lowest places. Like that sometimes that is it's a very deep Kabbalistic ideas of how this happened, of where in the creation this happened. But the fact is that the greatest diamonds of spirituality are sometimes thrown down into the lowest places. So if you're gonna be one of these guys, if we're talking about Reb Zusha, this is what I meant. That Reb Zusha's idea is really more relevant to here than it was to there. That Reb Zusha's idea that if you have Azus Panim, so you should go to Gehenna, you should go to hell, you should go to crack square, and that's where you're gonna get kedusha. That's where you're gonna really come close to Hashem. That if you're gonna just stay in the base manager the whole day, so then you're gonna be nice, you're gonna be holy, but you're not gonna be awesome. You're not gonna be out of this world. The only way that's possible to become out of this world holy is only if you're gonna be able to. It's gonna surprise you. It's gonna just like knock you out. How like that you're gonna go to meet with these people that are literally trying to kill you, and that's where you're gonna have the spiritual awakening, and it's gonna be an awakening that's gonna just stay with you forever and ever. And so it's specifically the ability, specifically by not being afraid, that there's this bitachon, that like believing in herself. Yeah, tell me, what do you do? And so
when the Israeli army came to the festival, Khan and Yahu and I were just like, oh, okay, I guess we got to talk to these guys.
So this is the.
They're actually really nice. They're all younger than me.
Of course, it's really soldiers and nice. What we were thinking, and so you've been listening to too much BDS. So this is the third level. This is the third level, that in order for the soul to be able to be privy to really connecting with the Torah, so it also needs these deep levels of kedusha that can only be found in the lowest places. Okay, so I bless us all that we should really be able to find kedusha everywhere, and we should be very real. We should be very, very real. We shouldn't be one of these people that's afraid to really experience life to the fullest, lest we become detached with God. Because when you bring emunah into the picture, so then it just becomes even better, it becomes even closer and even deeper and even holier. And that's really the intro to the fact that sometimes you can have. This is okay. We're going to talk about this more next time. Rabbi Nachman, Rabbi Nachman talks about how this last level is not for everybody. This last level of going to a crack square, that's not for everybody. It's only for true tzaddikim. This story is the story of a true tzaddik,
Yeah, I went to crack square.
But no, it's true.
About why they had to kill all the pirates?
Yes, we're going to talk about that.
Because they're evil men, they thought they had beautiful wives, and they were just going to do it.
No. It's more complicated than that.
Yeah, it's more complicated than that. But like, if the men naturally, probably would have had some different ideas.
So
of
B'ezrat
what to do
Hashem,
with all
we
that
should be
stuff.
able to really connect with deepest places in our existence, and to really be present in everything we do, and to really connect with God through this true reality. B'ezrat Hashem. L'chaim, l'chaim.